All right, folks, welcome to our 2024 Interscholastic Unified Flag Football. This is our pre-competition webinar for the state tournament. The state tournament is the 19th, so we're about a week and a half away. We are recording this on Thursday the 7th, so we saw a lot of you today. Great job at the Western Regional. We're excited to have our friends from the Eastern Shore join us, so we want to share some information going into states so you guys are prepared for what states is going to be. First off, let's talk Unified Champion Schools. First of all, our Unified Champion Schools team wants to wish everybody good luck at the state tournament. If you have any questions about Unified Champion Schools, Melissa Kelly and Allie Boyd are the two people to reach out to. They also want you, if you're going to take any pictures or share things on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever it may be, please use our hashtags and tag us on the various platforms that we're on. We want to share whatever you guys are sharing. We're excited that you guys are excited, so please do so. Again, just some points we're going to hit reminders on Unified Champion Schools. Captain stuff, you guys did a really good job of this year. Thank you to folks that did turn in the names for their captains for their teams. We did hand out some certificates today at the regional event for those that did do that. If you have not done so already, please email the name of your captains to this ucs@somd.org email. We want to make sure that your team has their captains recognized and that they get their certificate. Additionally, the Maryland Banner Recognition Program is a program that schools that complete all three components of Unified Champion Schools, which is the Unified Sports, which is the main reason you're on this webinar, the whole school engagement, which is morning announcements, pep rallies, that kind of stuff, and then youth leadership, which is having captains on your teams, and other examples like that. If you're interested, if your school does that stuff and you're interested in potentially becoming a Maryland Banner program, go to this link, scan this QR code, and check out the information. The application you can see here is 2 pages long, and it's a really, really cool acknowledgement for your school to be a banner program and be a banner program year after year. Again, a lot of other teams have banners in your gymnasium. It'd be really cool to have a Maryland Banner Recognition program from Special Olympics as well. Additionally, something that is a huge help for us is at some point as the season's concluding, in the next week, week and a half leading up to states, if you guys could take 5 minutes to do essentially this little survey that we have put together to just kind of check some of the boxes and confirm some of the things that we know you guys are doing with Unified Sports and Unified Champion Schools overall. If you fill this out and you turn this back into Julie or that ucs@somd.org email, it helps us tremendously. It lets us know which schools out there are doing all three components. Again, Unified Sports, which is the flag football, whole school engagement, which is pep rallies, morning announcements, that kind of stuff. Captains covers the youth leadership aspect. If you're doing those three components and you fill this out and we know your school is doing it, it helps us a ton for funding. And I know that's a language everybody speaks, schools especially. So if you can take 5 minutes at some point in the next 2 weeks, before Thanksgiving would be ideal, obviously, fill this out, send it back to the UCS email. That would be a huge, huge help for us. And then again, thank you guys for everything that you've done. You guys are a huge part of us almost pushing to 20,000 unified teammates across the state, community program, elementary school, middle school programs, high school programs, young athlete programs. Again, a reminder as well that when your students or even before your students graduate, we have a community program. We have participants in there from as young as 8 years old all the way up to 82 years old. We have multiple sports. It goes year round. And again, they can double dip. They can do unified sports in school. And then if their parent, guardian, whomever wants to also get them in community program, they can participate in that as well. They don't have to do one or the other. So if you have questions, reach out to Tyler or I. We can connect you to the right folks, get you in touch with who you need to talk to about various programming. If you don't know who we are, this is Meredith. She will be helping and leading the 5v5 competition aspect and the competition tent. This is my ugly mug, and somehow Tyler dodged getting his picture put into this webinar. But Tyler is here. Tyler was at the event today, and Tyler will be a huge help at States as well. Main point that we want to make straight out the gate is one, we will have medical at States. We always have medical at States, especially for a sport that has a little bit more contact like football. Typically, they will be hanging out at the competition control center near the 5v5 fields. They'll have a radio with their own specialized channel. All of our management and staff will have a radio. So if they're not right next to you and you need medical for some reason, grab a staff or management person. They can call for medical. We can get them where we need to get them to. Again, just make sure you're able to communicate the severity of what you need and the location of where you need them so we can get them where they need to be. Additionally, if you have any students that have any special medical needs, independent changing room, dietary stuff, whatever, please reach out to Meredith and I ASAP so we can help you work on that stuff. We don't necessarily always have an independent room or a sensory room or stuff lined up, but if you have an athlete that needs that kind of stuff, we can work to make that happen for you. We just need you to let us know as soon as possible. Location. Same place. We are going back to the facility. It's Baltimore Parks and Rec facility. Beautiful brand new rec center. Beautiful brand new field. It's on 201 Reedbird Ave. It's right over the Hanover Street Bridge if you're familiar with that southern part of Baltimore City. And if you put in Middle Branch Fitness Center Field, it'll pop up. But this is the exact address. Let's talk schedule really quick. We try not to change the schedule on you guys at all. And we've kept it as standard as possible. We do need some wiggle time to make things happen. With that said, the schedule is probably a little bit longer than what you guys have been used to throughout the season for week-to-week competitions or the regional competitions. So when you are communicating to parents about drop-off and pickup for the day of the event, prepare them that awards could happen at 2-3 o'clock, which a 2 hour bus ride back west, 3 hour bus ride back west, Garrett County folks, 4 hour bus ride back west. You may not get home until 6, 7, 8 o'clock for pickup, so make sure you communicate that. As far as what we care about day of and you guys care about day of schedule wise, main thing is going to be we want you guys to arrive somewhere between 9 and 10 a.m. I know coming from the west, it's probably closer to 10 a.m., knowing that you'll hit a little traffic, knowing that you're going to have to leave very early that day. So just please try to get there by 10 a.m. If you get there before 10 a.m., from 9:30 to like 10:15-ish, you guys can warm up, stretch out, throw the ball around, work out some plays, do what you need to do. 10 o'clock, there's going to be a control center tent on the field. It's going to be where Meredith will be and the sports team will be for the day. We will have our coaches meeting there. We'll recover some stuff that we covered tonight. We'll cover anything that pops up that's new, and we'll cover some things just to keep the day moving. From there, we'll break out. We'll go back to the stands. We'll do opening ceremony right at 10:15, and then right at 10:30, we'll start competition. It's similar to the start time for competition today. Lunches will roll in 11, 11:30-ish. We'll pack them all up and we'll make an announcement. You can send some folks over, pick up your box of lunches and some waters, go back, sit down, eat, do what you need to do. And tentatively right now, awards are scheduled for 4 p.m. One, skills awards will happen before that, way before that. Two, we will try to award teams as divisions finish. So when they finish early, when they finish on time, God forbid they finish a little bit behind, that's when we're going to award teams. We're going to wait till full divisions are done, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Rain date. Should we get some crazy weather for some reason, and I'm talking relatively crazy weather, we will push from the 19th to the 20th. With that said, it's football. As long as it's not a monsoon or a snowstorm that's keeping people from traveling from Western Maryland, we're gonna play if it's a little wet. Like that's how football goes. I would make a tennis joke here, but I don't want to offend our other fall sport friends. That tennis can't happen in the littlest of weather. So be prepared. If the 19th is a little bit chilly, dress and be prepared for chilly. Again, we prefer students not to wear hooded sweatshirts if they're wearing them underneath their uniform. We get concerned about them pulling on the hood by accident. If they have to wear a hooded one, we'll tuck it in. Again, no hats with brims on it, but if you want to wear a beanie because it's cold, that's fine. Long sleeve shirts underneath are fine. Long pants are fine. Even sweatpants are fine. We'll talk about that in the uniforms. But if it's chilly or a little bit wet, dress to play in chilly or a little bit wet. We won't just punt to the 20th because it's damp and cold. Let's talk facility. For the most part, if you guys have been there last year, same thing as last year. We will use the whole field for competition play. Essentially, we will run what we ran at the Western Regional today. We'll run two 5v5 fields to the top left of the field. And then on the bottom side of the field, we'll run skills. Skills will eventually get turned over into a third field, and we'll just keep rocking and rolling through the day. When I talk about competition field tent, it's going to be back here by this 50-yard line marker. So if you're looking for staging for competition, if you have a question, if you're looking for our head official, if you can't find medical looking for them and can't find somebody to make a call for them, likely they're going to be in that area. The few other areas to point out for you guys is anywhere in this purple section in the stands or the grass to the left or right of the field, you guys can set up shop for the day. If you want to bring a pop-up tent, you can put it in the grass. There's a good amount of stand room, but there's not a ton. So first come, first serve there. Additionally, when we're at the field, if you have anything besides water, it needs to stay off the field in the team area. And remember, please clean up after yourself as well. Few other spots really quick. Yellow square down here to the bottom of the screen. That's where the porta pots are going to be. We'll have fresh porta pots brought in for the day of. They'll be nice and clean. Please use those. Stay out of the main facility. Unless you need to go in there for some reason, they'll still have members and folks from the city using the facility throughout the day. The pink square here is where our control center is going to be for everything that isn't competition, anything else event-wise. We will also serve lunches out of that control center tent as well. That is where you will check in as a head coach to start the day. So when you roll in to start the day, head coaches go to the control center. Everybody else goes to the team area to put their stuff down and set up for the day. Last spot, this green patio area is going to be where we do awards. We'll stage people in across the walkway here. It's now grass. It's not brown nastiness like it used to be. We will stage folks for awards there, and then we will walk them across to the patio in the green box. Huge thing, and I will remind everybody day of. This black area next to the green box between awards and the control center is like a yoga outdoor squishy material. Absolutely zero cleats on there. Quite honestly, just tell your student athletes to avoid it across the board. We don't want to damage that surface. Cleats will tear it up. So no cleats on that area. Quite honestly, the best policy for cleats is either in the team area or on the field, and that's it. Tyler, do you want to add anything about the facility layout when we did our walkthrough?
No, I think you got it all, but we do have a question in the chat about uniforms.
Uh, Chat is the one thing I don't have up. Give me 1 second. Are sweatshirts with pockets okay? Ideally, it's another situation where sweatshirts with pockets are not ideal. But for the most part, when you're wearing the uniform and the belt is around your waist, it kind of negates the pocket factor there. We're actually more concerned about pockets on shorts. If we can have shorts without pockets, sweatshirts without hoods, we'll be in really good shape. Good question, though. Some facility notes. Main thing right off the top, only water on the turf. Any other food and drink has to be in the grass or bleacher area. We don't want Gatorade or sodas or chips or pizza or nothing on the field there. When we have the Wawa lunches come in, they're really nice Wawa lunches. The sandwiches, the chips and cookie and whatever else stays on the grass and bleacher area. There's nothing besides water on the field. Also, if you bring a disposable plastic water bottle on the field, please take it off with you. A lot of times people take waters on the field, they drink a little bit, they forget which is theirs, and they leave it. If you kind of feel like that might be your water bottle, take it off and throw it out. We can always get you another one. Again, use the portable toilets. Try not to go inside unless you need to. Realistically, unless you clear something with us ahead of time that you need to go inside, just don't go inside. Again, please don't be loitering around in the fitness center. They're trying to do their normal day of operations. They're hosting classes. They have people coming in using the fitness center, so on and so forth. If for some reason you need to use the indoor facility for a specific bathroom or something, ask a staff or management team person first before you just go in there so we can escort you and let them know, hey, they need to use this for X, Y, or Z reason. Field map. We do not have this learn to play field. Tyler and I went out there 3 weeks ago, maybe even a month ago when we walked the field. We tried to eyeball and see if we could put three 5v5 fields and skills on the field. We could, but it's going to be really tight. So we've scrapped that idea and we're going to shift everything down a little bit. We'll have an updated map for you guys in your coaches packet. But essentially, field one is going to move to the top left a little bit. Field two is going to move into the center. And then skills will have more room to start the day. And then once skills is done, we will add a third field to close out and expedite the end of the day, having three fields. Again, if you were at the Western Regional, it's exactly what we ran today. For our friends coming from the shore, it actually worked out really good, and we'll continue to communicate. We'll make announcements of who's on what field prior to each game starting and when each game starts. Questions on anything when it comes to the facility or just general event operations? Fantastic. Let's talk parking and buses. This has not changed from last year. If you attended last year, this is the same game plan. This is what the overall facility looks like. Again, all these gray spots have been filled in. Google Earth just has not updated yet. So you guys more than likely will be coming from I guess that's the northern end of Reedbird Ave, down Reedbird Ave, and into the facility at the start of the circle where the green dots are. You'll follow the green dots around the parking area and stop where the pink line is, and that's where you'll let your students off of the bus and coaches will get off the bus. When you get off of the bus, you'll have a management team person there that'll meet you. They'll remind coaches to go to the control center to get their packet. They'll remind the rest of the team to go to the team areas to set up for the day. And then they'll tell your bus driver that they're going to loop back out and around and they can park anywhere along Reedbird Ave that's valid parking. Reedbird is actually a very wide street and it has designated parking all along the sides. We parked the buses there last year, absolutely no problem. So again, come in where the green dots are, drop off, out where the red dots are, and park along the street. Handicap parking. There's not a whole heck of a lot of handicap parking, and quite honestly, it's towards the front of the facility, so it's not super duper close to the field anyway. With that said, if you need a handicap specific parking spot for somebody that really, really needs one, email me ASAP and we'll do our best to have one coned off for you. We can't guarantee it. Again, it's a public facility, it'll be in public use, but we will do our best. We get there relatively early. If we can put down a cone for somebody to help them, we will. But again, there's not a ton of spots, so only for people that really, really need it. Really quick before we hit competition, any more questions? Looks good. Okay. Let's talk competition specifics. Again, I think everybody did a great job today. Competition will be very similar to today's regional. So we're going to make announcements via bullhorn or PA system for the next round of games 10 minutes prior to the conclusion of the games that are on the field 4-5v5. When a team is called, if we call for your team, please go to that tent on the 50-yard line and check in. Meredith will be there working on the games and putting either A, results from prior games down onto paper, or she'll be working to get new games out. We will have another management team person there, Dawn Furlow. You'll check in with Dawn. Dawn will work with Meredith. We'll get you guys onto your field. Again, when we make that 10-minute announcement, get to the staging tent, which is the competition tent. We will hold you guys there and then send you off to the right field. There is likely a scenario based on round robin play that your team's probably going to play back to back at some point, so be prepared for that. With that said, if you finish a game and you need a little bit of a break before the next game, at halftime of the game you're playing, come over and tell Meredith and Dawn, say, hey, we need more than a 5 minute break. Can we get 10 or 15 minutes? I need to get some food slash water into my student athletes. Then we'll be ready to go. As long as we're on time and not wildly behind, sure, we can give you an extra couple minutes. Go get water in you, get a snack in you. If somebody needs a bathroom break, bathroom break. We need you to communicate that to us because otherwise we're just planning to hit the schedule as it's scheduled. Again, we are trying to, knowing how far people have to drive from the west into the city or back across the bridge, we're going to try to keep the schedule as tight as we can to keep things moving so you guys get home at a reasonable time after having a good day. Credentials. Coaches, volunteers, essentially anyone that's not a student athlete will get a credential. Only those folks are allowed on the field of play. So if you have somebody that you didn't turn in paperwork for and they don't get a credential, they're not going to be allowed on the field. Parents are not allowed on the field. Again, we do that not only just to sort out who and who shouldn't be on the field, but the less crowded the fields are, the quicker we can operate, the better we can run, and the smoother things run. So if you have a question, we will make sure that we send you updated rosters. Again, we have tennis coming up on Tuesday, so we're going to work to get you updated rosters between now and Monday. But if you have questions about people on your roster, when we send the roster out and we say, please check it, please do check it. Additionally, Event Guide is almost ready to go. Event Guide covers a lot of the stuff that we're covering now. It just has some additional details. It also has notes on local food places because there's not concessions at this event. So if, family members want to go get lunch, we have that information. It has information in there about directions to the facility. It has information about filing protests, so on and so forth. It has just extra details. When we send the event guide as a digital file along with your rosters, please look at that as well. That is information that will be helpful to you. You will get a physical copy in your coach's packet. So don't worry about printing yourself a copy. We'll print one and have one for you, but take a look at it before you guys get to the event. All right, let's talk competition specifics for 5v5 first. Same plan as usual. 2 20-minute halves, 5-minute halftime. You get one 1 minute timeout per half, and they don't carry over, so it's a use it or lose it situation. And then it's a running clock except for the last minute of play. Additionally, we have paid referees that will be coming in that are also varsity flag football and varsity tackle officials. They know the deal. They're going to work very hard to make sure that we keep things on time. They give you a heads up about the clock. When we're under 1 minute, they'll make an announcement, so on and so forth. Additionally, I'll make a point here that if you had students that were officials this season, you are more than welcome to bring them as part of your team, and we'll have them work with our paid officials as well. It could be a very good learning and career development type of experience for them, so definitely consider it. When it comes to tiebreakers, first thing that we do is look at head-to-head, who beat who. Number 2 is points allowed. We will put a limit on points allowed being at 50 because there are times that it will go way over that. Second thing is points scored / points differential. Um, Again, we will work through those processes. I don't think we will get that deep into them. Typically, points allowed determines who our winner is for a given place in a division. Should we need to go deeper than that, we will. And typically, when we have a tiebreaker situation, once we settle out the tiebreaker with the results, we'll communicate that and let you guys know as coaches as well what happened, what the tiebreakers were, so you aren't surprised when you get to awards. Equipment. We will use that intermediate youth football for all of our games and skills. We will always use the youth/intermediate size football. Main thing for you guys to remember is make sure all your students have a mouthpiece in. I think everybody's done a really good job of that. If for some reason somebody gets on the field without one, as soon as an official notices that, they will throw them right off the field until they get a mouthpiece. So make sure everybody has a mouthpiece. Um, I gotta edit this last one a little bit. The flag belt should be worn at all times on offense. We've loosened up the rule that you don't have to wear a flag on defense because there's not a situation where the offense has to pull flags on a defender. If it's an interception, it's a spot foul, and the ball turns over right where the spot was. So there's no chasing, there's no pulling flag. So you have to wear a belt at all times on offense. Again, I noticed a situation just to bring up this topic while we're here. Came up once today where somebody happened to be on offense and didn't realize they weren't wearing a flag belt. They had the ball thrown to them, they started running, and somebody said, they're not wearing a belt. If that happens, the play will be whistled dead. The ball is placed where they caught it. There's no forward progression because they didn't have a flag to pull, so it's not fair. So, again, remember mouthpiece, flag belt, jersey, and from there it's a little bit of choose your own adventure within reason. And we'll cover the rest of the choose your own adventure when it comes to uniforms a little bit later on. Here we go. We'll cover it now. So when it comes to uniforms, the main thing is that they have to wear the flag football jerseys that you've ordered for your teams, which have the school name on it, the Unified Sports logo, and numbers on the front and the back. They have to have a jersey. Most of you guys have extra jerseys. So if a kid forgets their jerseys, just give them an extra jersey. It's okay if they wear a different number. If for some reason you don't have extra jerseys and somebody doesn't show up with one, they're not playing. They need to have a numbered jersey with all the right things on it. Um, we ask that all jewelry be taken off. For the most part, folks have been good about that. You you can wear them; it's at your own risk, but we highly, highly, highly recommend take off rings, bracelets, necklaces, earrings, everything. Also, it's not just a safety thing; it's also we don't want you to lose that important stuff for an event. Take it off, put it in a backpack, have a coach put it in a bag, whatever it may be. Please take off the jewelry. No blue jeans. If I see anybody in blue jeans, I'll be extremely disappointed because you can get away with blue jeans maybe at bocce or tennis. It ain't happening at flag football. There's no way you're playing in blue jeans unless you have an athlete that really needs some sort of special accommodation where all they'll wear is blue jeans. Based off of what I saw today, that is not a thing, so we should be fine. No blue jeans. Um, if players want to wear long sleeves under their uniforms, if they want to wear sweatpants, they have to be the same color that you designate for your uniform. If you choose that your uniforms are black tops, black bottoms, the undershirt, the sweatpants, whatever it may be, has to be black as well. We want everything monocolored or whatever you choose. If it's blue tops and black bottoms, that's fine. The undershirt then has to be blue or black, whatever you determine that's going to be. We just do not want a situation where we have red uniforms with red tops, red bottoms, and they're wearing purple undershirts. Again, we want uniformity. We want your uniforms to match. Last note on uniforms, you have to wear some sort of flat-soled athletic shoes, you know, tennis shoes, track and field shoes, athletic shoes, or rubber cleated cleats, no metal cleats. Um, Anything with hiking boots or metal cleats, none of that stuff is fine. We want rubbered bottom whatevers. That's cleats or athletic shoes. No slides, no whatevers. Hey dudes is something I've learned about in the past year. I'm learning what the kids are wearing now, um, but none of that kind of stuff. Cleats with plastic bottoms or regular athletic shoes. If they want to wear extra stuff, headbands, wristbands, gloves, whatever, that's fine. That's up to you guys to choose. Again, reminder on if it's chilly and they want to wear sweatshirts, sweatshirts, ideally, no pockets, no hoods. If they have a hood, we have to tuck the hood in. If they have pockets, the jersey has to go over the sweatshirt and the belt has to be covering the jersey so that the pockets aren't sticking out. Um, do your best to have them wear shorts or sweatpants that don't have pockets. Every now and then, we want to make sure that we don't run into it, but a finger accidentally goes in a pocket when they're trying to pull a flag and you get a sore finger or worse. Again, try to avoid anything with pockets or hoods. Again, flag football is a non-contact sport by Special Olympic standards. We realize that it has some contact to it. We want you guys to play respectfully and responsibly, right? We want you to play hard, but we want you to play within the rules and protect not only yourself, but other athletes and your opponents on the field. Um, Again, you can't commit perpetual fouls near the goal line to improve or deprove your opponent's position. That's unsportsmanlike. You will then get a different penalty, which will be a different issue. Um, Again, if somebody does something that the official thinks is extremely unsafe or extremely unsportsmanlike, the official owns the right to take that person off the field. Again, they will issue whatever penalties they need to, but we want to play safe and we want to play smart. Again, officials make the final call. Not everybody's always going to agree with every call that's made. Turn on the game tonight. I'm sure you will see at least one or two that you don't love. Turn on any Sunday or Saturday. There's going to be some that you don't love. The officials' call is the officials' call. We will back our officials and support our officials. If you have an issue with something, come talk to myself. Come talk to Meredith. Talk to Megan Schaefer, who will be there as our rules official. We can talk it out. We're not going to go against our official, but don't be yelling at officials. Don't be getting in their face. Be respectful of the officials coming out and giving their time to us. I'm not going to go through all the unsportsmanlike conduct. I haven't seen anything that justifies unsportsmanlike conduct this year. Um, but again, just respect everybody on the field, and we're going to have a great day. Um, Again, reminders for ball carriers. Um, when you're running the ball, you have to make an effort to avoid defenders with an established position. Most of the time, we see this when there's a defender guarding the goal line and the running back with the ball has the ball and it's the defender between them and the goal line, they have to avoid that defender. They can't just run through them. They will get a penalty for that. It's essentially just flag guarding, but more aggressive. So you might get hit with a personal foul type of roughing penalty if you're running through people. Ball carrier cannot jump unless it's to avoid contact. We're not jumping or diving into end zones. If it's an extension for a catch, that's one thing, but we're trying not to jump and dive to prevent injuries. Again, defenders, just like running backs, cannot run through the ball carrier. They need to make the best effort to pull the flags. We play hard sometimes, and there's a little bit of bumping, but we're not taking anyone down. And then again, just coaches' code of conduct. The attitude that you guys have coaches have on the field is what your players are going to emulate, and that goes for your student coaches too. I know the student coaches are out there, they're having a good time, they're excited for their athletes doing a good job, but again, make sure they remember they're coaches. They need to set an example for their athletes. If something's not going their way, don't get down as a coach because your athletes are going to follow suit. So remind them of that. One last note while we're on this topic too. Sometimes there tends to be a good chunk of people on the sidelines for some of these bigger 5v5 teams with additional coaches and such. please make sure you're staying back from the sideline. We don't want to obstruct anybody playing because we're too close on the sideline. I'm going to pause. Questions on 5v5. That's the main generic stuff. We're not going into every rules detail here. I think you guys have done a really nice job with 5v5 this year. Okay, let's talk skills. Skills is 5 stations, the ones we've been doing all year. Athletes are going to go through 1 round of skills. We're going to tabulate scores, and they'll be awarded. Typically, our community program does 2 rounds of skills. We've determined that for unified sports for high schools, we're doing 1 round, so nothing's changing from what we've done in the past couple weeks. Again, when we go through all the skill stations and we get all the scores, we'll tabulate the scores and we'll award skills once we have everything tabulated. So there's a good chance that by lunchtime, 12:30, we're awarding skills. So just have your skills athletes be prepared for that. Reminder on scoring and how score calculation works. You have pairs of athletes and partners, and your pairs make up a team. Team can't be any less than 1 pair, so 1 athlete, 1 partner, or 4 pairs, 8 athletes and partners combined. Again, we take their score, we'll take the individual score, we'll add it with their partner score. We'll add up all your pair scores. That's how we get your score for your team. With that said, we don't have perfect teams that match up. 4 people on this skill teams, 4 people on this skill teams. It varies a little bit. So what we do is we do a scoring modifier just like we do for strength and conditioning and track and field. If one team has 4 people on it and the other team has 6 people on it, we divide the score so that there's a score modifier that the people with a 4-person team that are playing against a 6-person team get an equal shot based off of that modifier and the difference of the amount of people on a team. If you guys are interested in learning more about how we do the scoring, when we do the scoring, I'm more than happy to show folks. It's a really good way that we found out to do team skills in a really good, engaging way that makes it an equitable experience regardless of team size. This is a little bit of an example. Again, if Fort Hill has 3 pairs, so 6 people, they have no modifier because they're the biggest one in that group. If Mountain Ridge has 2 pairs, 4 people, they get a 1.5 modifier because, 6 divided by 4, I'm sure I probably did that backwards. But 6 divided by 4, 1.5. You take 1.5 times whatever their score was from the skill stations, that's their final score. Same thing. If MSD has 1 pair, it's 1/3 of what Fort Hill has, so they get a 3 times modifier. I will say we try to make our skills divisions so that 1.5 really is the biggest modifier that we have to use. Once you start getting into a 2 times modifier or bigger, it really messes up the scoring. So we are going to try to put divisions together based off of size of teams. And if we have to have more smaller skills divisions to have it be equal and not have a major modifier, we will. Again, if you've done strength and conditioning or track and field with us, it's the same concept with the modifier that we have there. Questions on skills before we move forward? I don't see anything. Again, we unload a lot of information on you guys when it comes to these webinars. So if you have questions down the road, again, we have about a week and a half. You'll see emails from Tyler and I within the next week about final documents and information and stuff. If you have questions that pop up, just ask us when we send you emails, email us, text us, call us, whatever. I think you have all those lines of communication for us. And if you don't, here's my email. Again, if you have an accommodation that you need for an athlete, the one that I like to use now is there was an athlete that will only wear pink Crocs. It's the only thing he'll ever wear out of the house. If he doesn't wear his pink Crocs, he will have a massive meltdown and he just won't have a good day and have a good experience. For bocce, that's something that we can accommodate, right? Like You're not running around. If Pink Crocs is going to make that day happen for that athlete, we're going to meet that athlete where they're at, right? If you have an athlete that, you know what, you tried to get them to wear a black undershirt, but they swear by this pink one that they have, send us an email early. Let us know. We're not going to ruin an athlete's day or experience because of something that we can meet them at their needs, right? I think that's the best part about of what Special Olympics and our programming does is we provide structure, we provide competition standards, but we want to meet our athletes where they're at and provide a good experience for them as well. So again, email us if you have questions. Protest stuff, I will mention this in the coaches meeting the morning of. I think it hits a little bit better morning of than on the webinar. But a protest, if you find something that's wrong with the game and you think it caused the outcome to be something different, even if it's the outcome, you know what, is going to be in the other team's favor and you want to be super duper truthful, you can protest something. I don't think you would, but to do that, you need to go to the competition, not the competition. I did this last night too. The main event control center where you checked in the morning and got your coach's packet. Don't go to the tent that has Meredith and Dawn Furlow preparing competition stuff. They're going to be busy trying to keep games and matches going. Go to the event main competition center. They will get you a protest form. Again, as a reminder, you can't protest an official's judgment call. If you didn't like the touchdown and the official called a touchdown when you thought they didn't have a foot in, that's not something you can protest. If for some reason the side of the field that you were on wasn't 60 feet long, and it made it easier for the opponent to score every drive that they had, that's protestable. That is something that's in the rules. That is a operations thing that we messed up that gave another team an unfair advantage, which is protestable. Um, that's the best example I can come with up off the top of my head. But there's plenty of others. We do have a rules committee that we will have look over a protest. Our head official, Megan Schaefer, Meredith, as long as she's not instantly busy at the competition table. And then we'll have a district rep and a coach from a team that's not involved in the protest as part of the process. Um, Again, we will go over this morning of. I think this hits a little bit better in person at the coaches meeting. You can ask more detailed questions on this there. But again, we like to remind you, you can protect your team, protect your athletes. That's what a protest is for. Nobody's going to be upset with you for filing a protest. Again, just remember what is and is not protestable. And even if you just have a question about it, come over and ask and say, hey, this happened during the game. I think it's something I'd like to protest. Is it something I can protest? We'll tell you, yeah, realistically, that's something you can protest. We can't guarantee it'll be approved or denied. Or we'll tell you, no, that's an official's call. That's not something you can protest. But please ask, communicate. That's what we're looking for. Additional follow up on uniforms. Uh, if somebody comes and is not in the right uniform and it's not something that we've previously discussed because it's an accommodation that you asked for and got approved, if they're not in uniform, they will not play. Every other player has shown up, gotten in the right uniform, and they're there ready to play. If you have somebody that did not do that, they will not play. If for some reason we start skills or a game and we notice somebody's not in uniform, we won't go over there and yank them off the field in the middle of a play. We'll wait for the play to end. We'll go over, we'll tell the head coach. The coach will have to pull them and resolve that uniform. If they cannot resolve the uniform, that player can no longer continue to play. Again, show up in your uniforms. If we discuss something that you guys needed accommodation for, we'll make sure we take care of it. If not, come in what you're supposed to be wearing. Come ready to play. Um, we will have the divisions. Probably, I'm not going to be overzealous knowing that we have tennis on Tuesday. Hopefully by Thursday of next week, we will have the final team divisions and who is playing at what times on what field. I will say the main thing that we will take into account is that, especially Garrett County has a long trip. We're going to try to put Garrett County's games up front. If we can get them in and out sooner, we will. We may have to wait till a full division ends to award everybody, though. So, but we will take into account Garrett County has a long trip. Likely based off of what we saw at the Western Regional and knowing what Kent County's teams look like, we're probably going to have 3 divisions of 3 teams, which means everybody gets 2 games guaranteed, plus skills competition on the side. So um, that is what we're anticipating. That could change between now and then. Myself, Tyler, Meredith, we'll get together. We'll talk about that. We talked about it with Megan Schaefer and Melissa Anger, who were at the Western Regional today. But as soon as we have that stuff, we will share it with you so you can game plan your day based on the schedule. Any questions about competition stuff, about uniforms, details? Fantastic. Few more miscellaneous things and we'll get out of here. Awards, again, when awards happen, we will wait for a full division to end, and then we will have you guys go over to that patio area that we talked about. Tyler will be running awards. He will work with the day of volunteers that are helping him with awards, with the law enforcement officers that are helping with awards. He'll have you guys stage in the grass across the pathway, and then they'll call your team to come up from your division onto the award stand. They'll get awarded, take some pictures. Everything's great. Awesome. So that's the main game plan for awards. We're going to try to keep it as swift yet simple yet fun for your athletes as possible. But again, when a division finishes, pick up all your stuff, gather up all your stuff, throw out any trash and stuff that you have, and start making your way over to awards. We'll start lining you guys up from there. Additionally, I forgot to put in a slide for this, but we are doing a sportsmanship award as well. In your coaches packets, you guys will get an index card that you can vote for a team for a sportsmanship award for that day. Ideally, we will ask you to turn that vote in when you pick up your lunch. But if you feel like you need to wait a little bit longer into the day to turn it in, please turn that into the control center next to where awards is. We will collect them there. Additionally, I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but I will. You cannot vote for yourself. As great of sportsmen as you may think your team and student athletes are, can't vote for yourself. So you do have to vote for another team. Other than that, we will announce whoever the sportsmanship award goes to when they're given their awards for competition as well. Additionally, when you vote for a sportsmanship award, it can be won by a skills team too for a school. So if you go over to skills and you see Kent County or Allegheny's doing a really great job with skills, their athletes are being super engaged, they're being super helpful, they're cheering on other athletes doing the skills, you can vote for a skills team for that school to win for skills as well. So please take that into consideration, that it's not just 5v5 teams that you are voting for or eligible. Day of volunteers. If you have somebody that is 18 or older, they can always sign a day of volunteer form and support and become a volunteer. When they become a day of volunteer, they aren't your team's day of volunteer. They are the event's overall volunteer. So if you have a 5v5 team, we may send them the skills because that's where we need the help if they're a day of volunteer. If you are bringing any extra students that are just tagging along with your school to cheer your school on, but you think they may have a better and more fulfilling day being a day of volunteer, that's fine. Please reach out and email Sam Boyd ASAP. She can get them the right paperwork and registration stuff to sign up now, because if they're not 18, a parent or guardian has to sign the day of volunteer form. So again, if you have somebody under 18 that's tagging along and they want to be a volunteer, reach out to Sam Boyd ASAP. Please take a minute to look at this. I think most of you probably have my cell phone number, but if you don't, please take down my Jersey cell phone number so you don't think it's spam in the morning. If you're hitting traffic, if you're running behind, if something comes up in the morning, please call or send me a text. If you can send us an ETA on what your arrival time is, if it's 9:30, 9:45, update us where you guys are. If you're in traffic, we'll work out and do what we can to help you guys out. If something pops up that you're jammed up in traffic and you're one of the first games of the day, you know what? We may have to flip a game around. But we only know that if you guys reach out to us. So please take down my cell phone number. And if something comes up in the morning, please reach out to me. Other than that, that's it. That's the main game plan. We will get you additional details. You'll see paperwork start floating in Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Please look at the emails that we send you. There are going to be some things that we need you to respond to. Additionally, if you have not already turned in a lunch form, please turn in a lunch form because it's easier for us to prep the lunches if we have lunch forms ahead of time. We're going to have you guys double check your rosters, make sure everyone's on there. Once we get the matches out, we'll send you the match sheet. All that stuff's going to come next week. Again, we do have our state tennis tournament on Tuesday, so we'll get you stuff out for sure by Wednesday and Thursday, but be patient with us, please. Tyler, anything you want to add about opening ceremonies or awards or anything else?
Nope, I think you covered it all.
Cool. Meredith, anything about competition that you want to add?
Nope, you covered it.
All right, I'm doing a great job tonight. Mike, while you're here too, anything that you want to add from sports team overall?
Nothing other than a big thank you, as you have here, to all the coaches, all the athletes, and partners. We're looking forward to having a great day of competition.
Absolutely. I'll remind you guys if questions come up, please just email us, text us, reach out to us. But then I'll just echo what Mike said. Thank you guys for everything you've done this season. Thank you for everything you'll do at States, and knowing that a lot of you pull double, triple duty throughout the year. Thank you for everything you'll do for the rest of the year. We're excited to see you guys at Flag Football States. We're also excited to see you guys start up your winter seasons in November. And again, communicate, let us know what you have or what pops up, and we'll do our best to support you guys and meet you or where you're at. So thank you. Good night. Anybody that's a Ravens fan or a Bengals fan, good luck. And we will see you guys on the 19th.